Okay. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello, long time no see.
I know. Exactly. I would much rather be yesterday than today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. It was good. So
Yes, it was. I learned a lot.
I feel, I was just making sure it wasn't all at once too much. And, more you
And
do it.
actually, one of the homework items, I noticed I was supposed to interview 2 agents. Does
Uh-huh.
that count? Does that
That
count?
does.
See?
That works out. That was perfect. That works out perfect. Oh,
Had no idea I was doing that. See?
see, there you got your homework done. Didn't even know it.
Boom.
Yes, well, good. All right, hello everybody. Jennifer, hello.
Hi.
I couldn't find a polo to wear today for you. Actually, I could have pull out any color probably, but anyway.
I hate the polo.
I know you hate it. It's
I
really
know.
nice. It's really nice in the summer to just throw on and like some shorts and go show.
I've seen it like as a uniform for people in business and
Yeah,
what have you, and it doesn't always look bad, but we had to wear them at the dental office. I hated them.
yeah,
I hated them.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't like not being able to pick what I want to wear. So
No, I got you. All right. Hello to everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. So today is close the deal. What we're going to go over is preparing for the close, achieving a successful close, and making a lasting, this is the important part, lasting and winning impression with your clients. Because you've got to think that first one, you get to close and you can't forget. Tell you, I've been guilty of it when I first started. I just go on to the next one, but you have to remember to still reach out to the people that, you just closed with or closed with, a month ago, a few weeks ago, whatever. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Some of the first things are usually the same. Going over, what you did for last week and stuff. So what we're going to do is go over the basic steps in the contract to close process. Identify your contract to close responsibilities with buyers and or sellers, because sometimes you work both sides of the deal. So you have to, be in charge of both. Leverage your resources, which will be keeping up, and we'll go over this in depth, keeping up with your lenders, closing companies, all the people you get in for inspections, home inspector, things like that. You have to keep that going, because if it gets behind, then your closing is going to be behind. Implement post-close systems that ensure referrals. I just said, make sure you think about the future. So you've got to ask for those, people to refer you, people to give you comments, what could you do different? How'd the closing go? And we'll get into all that. All right, so I am guessing that everyone did some kind of homework and been making calls. And I'll share a story with you to, I don't know if it make you feel better or if you'll laugh at me. So yesterday I had a few leads, and I said I would go in and do some calls and stuff. Actually, the day before yesterday. And the first person I called, even though we had emailed back and forth, as soon as I called and said, "Hey, this is Michelle Vander for Keller Williams again," hung up on me immediately. So, don't feel like whether you're new or you've been doing it 6, 7, 8 years, 10, 20, someone's going to hang up on you. It happens. But then this morning, I had 2 people to follow up with that were new. And one guy, next thing you know, we're talking about, he thought about getting a house that he saw that was under construction. But I already looked at that house for someone else the other week. And I said, hey, this is only has the foundation. It's not finished, but they started on it. So then next thing you know, he goes, well, we're also thinking about getting a condo, and I have kids and I have this. So I start writing everything down about him. That way, when I call, next time I talk to him, bring up a couple of those things he told me. So it looks, like I'm actively listening. So I asked him if I could put him on a custom search. So, 2 days ago, someone's hanging up on me. Today, I'm giving the okay, put me on a custom search. Here's my budget, blah, blah, blah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't give up. We all hate rejection. I mean, some of us probably can blow it off easier than others. Some days it bothers me, sometimes it doesn't. But don't give up. You just have to keep doing it. And you have to remember that as competitive as the market is right now, you have to keep going, because when you don't make that call, someone else is. And I know, we have a lot of agents, between Roanoke, the Lake, Bedford, and Lynchburg. If you go, my feelings are hurt and I'm not going to make my calls today, well, then there's that other agent that probably calling and getting something you could have. So just remember that. We're not going to do our report outs. This is, again, when I preach, I wish we were in class so we could write it on the board, who did what, and, praise you for that. But we can't. So I am on, let's see, let's find my share screen. I get to talk, and you guys have to remind me to switch my thing, my PowerPoint, because I get to talking. All right, page 7. There's your contacts. All right, page 8. So I know that you guys love my consistency. I know you do. And I do like to do things in class. I will tell you, if you get a chance to take BOLD in person or a class like this where they make you do your calls, sometimes that really is the only time you're going to do it. And it's good practice. So first I'll begin with saying an affirmation. I feel great about what I am accomplishing every day. Okay, and that's on page 8. And not every day you do feel great about it, because we all have those days where we don't feel like accomplishing something. But the days you do, you really do feel a lot better. Last couple of weeks I had a couple down days and lazy days, and it rained all day, and I feel like the whole world's crashing in. But the days I did my stuff, I did feel better. So like I said, it helps. And it helps get your mind off other things when you have all these other obligations. Just take that hour or so and do it. So, I'm going to make you guys do this. So, and you can tell Teresa never have me teach again. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to make you do it. I like accountability. So if you guys will do a little bit of lead gen, there is a script on page 9. So if you had someone in your database that is out of the area, even if they live, like say you live in Bedford, but they live in Roanoke, let them know that you still can, work that area, or you have other agents. Because if you give a referral somewhere else, which we all know, you still get paid. You get the referral money. So what I want you to do, and we'll do very short. We're just going to do a few calls. We're not going to write notes today. You guys can do it on your own. If you talk to someone today and thank them for taking time, get out, whether it's your friend list, family, church member. And like I said, I'll give you guys about 10 minutes. We got time today, and just make some of those calls. And I'll tell you what, I will challenge you. If somebody gets a lead and say, okay, I know a person, and you were able to call them before we get back on, and they say, come out and talk to me, I will buy you lunch. If you don't eat lunch with me, I'll send you a gift card. How about that? I'll send it to your office. You don't have to eat with me, Vanessa, it's not that bad though, right?
Sorry, it's not that bad at all.
Not that bad at all.
No,
So,
not at all.
Lunch can be fun.
Can be fun.
So that is my challenge to you, and I will buy it with my own hard-earned, I have to make calls, be rejected money as well. So let's take 10 minutes. I do want someone to do it so they can take my money. I don't give my money away very easy either. I'm the person that says you should take it with you. So anyway, all right, do that. I'm gonna put mine on mute and go to it. All right, you guys, it's been about 10 minutes. Is everybody finished up? All right, let's see. I think Vanessa's still on the phone, so anyway. All right, looks like Jennifer's still on there. Is everybody finished with, did it have time to make a couple calls?
I made one.
Okay, how'd it go?
Pretty good, actually. She has a friend that's looking for a condo
Okay.
in the Boonesboro area for 190 to 250. So we're gonna keep an eye out and see if we can find something.
Good job. Did she give you the friend's info, or was she going to give?
She lives in
her
Florida, so I'm going to touch base with her again because she's a friend of mine. But she's like, "Hey, I was going to get with you anyway, so good thing you called." I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe it'll work out."
So that's
They want us.
definitely
They're
that's a
from
plus.
here, but they go to Florida for so many months
Okay.
and come here, you know, for the winter or the summer months or whatnot. You know how it is in Florida.
Yeah, yeah, good.
They just want a little condo here.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. Well, good. Anybody else? Paul, anybody? Okay. All right, it looks like Jennifer's still on the phone.
Yeah, yeah. Mine was a talker too. I'm like,
Yeah, 10 minutes isn't long. I hate to do, 20 because sometimes it.
Well, sometimes it's fine unless you have a talker, and then
Yeah, if you have nobody, you're just, yeah,
Mhm.
it's quick.
Mhm.
So good, very good, very good.
Jennifer looks intense there.
She does look intense. Hope she's doing it.
Looks great.
Yeah, looks real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, you just never know. And some people, you know, like to be called and they'll answer in the mornings, 9, 10. A lot of people are trying to get out of the house, but nowadays most people's home. Sometimes the afternoon's better, and then, sometimes right before dinner. It just depends on the person. So, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, we will start going. And if you notice Jennifer's off, or I notice, I'll ask her how she did.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it looks like she's doing a deal right now.
That would be great. That would be great, right?
Yeah.
It'll be wonderful. All right. And don't forget, so if you had that person you had, Vanessa, it says send a note. So you could, if you know her, maybe an email thanking her or follow up with her. And then, obviously, if you get a chance to write a note, send it to her if you know her address. Because even though we know people, sometimes we have to remember, still treat them like regular clients, so they'll be appreciative.
And it's just somebody I had met at TJ Maxx because I just talk to people.
Yeah, that's good. You'll do well. You'll do well then. There you go.
I don't know her that well, but I know her.
Right. All right, Kathy, how'd you do? Anyone? Well, can't get a hold of Kathy. Jennifer's still on there. All right, let's go to page 11. So we'll keep going. Let's see. There's Jennifer.
She back?
No, I don't know. She took a sip of drink. I thought she was done.
I know.
Maybe not. All right, so we'll go on to page 11. Just trying to Jen, are you still on the phone?
She's on mute though.
Yeah. Yeah. How'd your call go? Yeah, I don't know if she's talking to us or on the phone. So, all right. I think she's still on the phone. All right, so get your head in the game. So we have worked our way up. I was gonna read you guys this. I took a quick snapshot of all the classes. So we've done how to use scripts, build your business, organized database, find your business, cold calling, win the seller, price to sell your listings, win the buyer, find and show homes, make and receive offers, negotiate the deal. So session 11 is close the deal. So this whole time, you're working yourself up to get to close, which means payday, which we all love that. And that means you check that off the list. You've made it through the whole A to Z. Just getting a contract, making an offer, even if it's accepted, you still got to get those last steps. So closing is not an event. Remember where you can truly shine is giving your clients an experience and being professional as possible. Give them the best experience possible. There are people that are never going to be happy, but a lot of times you can get them, the best experience possible. In a successful contract to close, obviously it does happen, but sometimes there's things that go a little awry before you get there. So if you can close on time, that, makes a person happy. That's definitely successful. Sometimes there's a day or two that it might not close on time. There's also ones that they might get the loan done a little quicker. And I've had other realtors say, hey, can your buyer or seller close a little, can your seller close sooner? My buyer's got the loan approved, everything's good to go. And we have where we've closed a little earlier. Just depends on people's date of moving and what they've got going on in their life. Number two, make sure the process is smooth and painless for all parties. That's where you are like the problem solver. So, problems do come up. There could be an inspection on the septic, and just that day the pump decides not to work, or there could be termites, and as quick as you can get that treated and done. The whole thing is to work through it and still shoot for that closing date that you guys agreed to begin with. And then number three is always thinking future. You have to think future for your business, not just today. So you win future business due to your 10 plus customer service. All right, so those three outcomes, the transaction on time, process is smooth, and you win a future business. How can you ensure these three will be a successful outcome? Now, I named a couple, with inspections, things like that. What are other problems that could happen that, you need to make sure you overcome to have a great outcome? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
The appraisal, if that comes back bad.
Yep. Yes. Yep. Exactly. And that's all in the game itself of follow-up, because like right now I have the sellers on the one I have listed. It's under contract. So just about every other day I'm texting the buyer agent, is the appraisal back yet? Because I am actually waiting to order the well, septic and termite to make sure the appraisal comes back. But it was done Monday. I hope to have it by tomorrow, that she can tell me it's all good and we can get them done. So yeah, definitely on that. Another is the big thing. As soon as I say the word, you're going to know, communication. So like I was just saying, you have to communicate to the other realtor, closing company, make sure your lender's getting everything done on time. Underwriting, that it goes, ask your lender, has it been underwriting? Is there a problem? Things can come up, and Unfortunately, clients do things that maybe not be the smartest. Like midway through a loan, they'll go out and buy a new car. Well, that's gonna put the loan dead in the water.
Right.
So there's all things you gotta, you know, look for, but you should also tell them before. You tell your buyer, don't buy anything until this closes. All right. Page 12. First part of real estate sales is hard. Focus work of making connections and achieving agreements. The second part is the wide-eyed vigilant guardianship of the transaction until it makes it to closing. Pretty much they made it a paragraph of what I was talking about earlier, but making sure everything is in order from A to Z. You know, you can't at last minute go, oh gosh, I didn't get the termite inspection. I didn't order it and we've got 2 days till closing. Now, sometimes you may have a vendor that knows and done work for you and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Can you get a guy out today? But you don't want to hope on that because as busy as the market is, they've probably already got everything, you know, done for the next week or so that they're working on. So let's see. So congratulations, you've reached the moment in the lead to close process. It starts with the lead and then you got to get all the way to close, contract, everything like that. The first part of the real estate sales, you know, like I said, leads, appointments, agreements, and contracts. And if you look on page 12, the big little drip with the dollar sign is what you're getting to. All right. Page 13 is making it happy. Making it happen. Whew, it does make you happy. Make it happen. You got to know the process. Systems equal success. Seize the golden opportunity and get paid. And we're going to look at all these one by one. So if you go to page 13, it'll have those listed. I think Jennifer's still talking. Really want to know what she's talking about. Are you done, Jennifer? Or are you on the phone? Nope, she's still talking. All right. So number one is knowing the process. Okay. Closing, sometimes some people call it closing companies, some call it settlement. I say closing. It means the same thing. It's what brings the whole process together. So there is both sides of parties. So you got the buyer and seller side. So you have buyer, and then you got to deal with the other agent, lenders, the closing, or if you call some are law offices, some are title companies, some are closing companies. It's whom you use probably is the word you're going to use. And then sometimes if you have a buyer, say they don't have money to bring to the table, they can get a gift from a family member. A lot of times parents do that for like first time buyers. But that has to be done, you know, pretty early on because the bank has to know, even though they know it's come from the parents, where that money came from if they, you know, make a deposit. And usually it requires a letter or some kind of paperwork the lender gets to the parent or whomever's giving them the money. Another thing to remember is there is no such thing as over communication. So as you start getting more and more deals, you will notice that some realtors will like every day ask you a question. Is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Even though you know you've done it. You may want to be, you know, just, you know, pride yourself in being that. Because if you sometimes wait for the other side and you think, oh, they're taking care of all that, then it's not. Then who looks like the fool in front of their client? You know, so it's okay. Ask questions, you know, and, you know, get them to, I don't like to use the word prove, but I guess somehow let you know that this is being done. Say, okay, so the appraisal schedule, what day is it? Okay, the home inspection schedule, what day you're doing the home inspection and what time? Who are you using? You know, it's okay to ask those questions. So you want to make sure that you are covering your client. again, like I was saying, you be the problem solver. So if a problem comes up, and I will tell you, I've had really good other side realtors, and it might be something I've never run into, and they're like, hey, I got a guy for this. And, if you think they're a good resource and they're a reputable company, use them. Like on double wides, until I start selling double wides, I didn't know that they had to always have the structural inspection. A lender requires that. So I have a structural engineer. I have a GoTie. I've given him his name to plenty of other agents. Or people might get an inspection and the foundation's cracked. So I'll call Ed and be like, hey, can you come over and do this? And, tell me if you think the foundation is just going to fall apart, if it's just, a settlement crack. Because sometimes, the buyer will require the seller to make sure it's structurally sound. So be the problem solver. Tell them who you have. It's the outcome is for both sides to get to that closing. Let's see. All right. So the contract to close process, and I think in the last class we kind of went over, making the offer, accepting the offer to get to, ratified contract. So this is the contract to close. And like we were talking about some of those problems that arise, if you look in this, the offer is made. Well, that doesn't mean, especially today's market, it might be rejected. There could be counter offers because there's 5 others and they say, okay, best and final. Or, you might have a cash guy that's paying full price and they say, accept it. Okay. So you're at A, you can now go to, step B. So then after the offer, you have the inspection, which could be a good inspection, or it could bring up a whole world of whatever. I always talk about Murphy's Law. The day the inspection is a day that the air condition doesn't work. And it could be as simple as it needs coolant, which is about, $250, $300 to fill it up. It's not a big deal. Or it could be that the whole HVAC is out that day. It worked until your seller put it on the market. Then the day of the inspection, it says, I'm gonna poop out before we get to closing. And then you have to go to your seller and, hey, are you going to fix this or get a new HVAC for, $5 to $8 grand? What are you going to do? Then it's renegotiation time. Are they going to fix it? Are they going to ask the buyer, will you pay half of it because you're coming to the house or you're buying the house? And again, if you guys get to these and you have any question of like how you should approach it, please feel free to call me. And I know you can call like Joan, anybody, because we've all had it happen. So you get inspection, everything works out. The inspections have some minor things that need to be fixed. It's done. So the inspection accepted. So then, like I was saying, talk to your title company. And then once you get one that you've used a lot, they're going to communicate with you. They're going to know, what to tell you, or you send them a quick email. Hey, is the title work done on this? We're closing in like 4 days. I need a definite time for my people to sign. And they'll let you know all that. Usually the closing company or law firm will take care of the escrow instructions, or getting the closing costs, because a lot of places now, instead of actually bringing a check to closing, a lot like you did the day before, to have your client go ahead and wire the funds so they know it's in there for closing the next morning. They know the money's good, it's in there, it's been wired. And they actually will give instructions to the buyer to take to their bank, and they'll do it like the morning of or the day before. And you got to make sure it's done. Now, if your buyer comes to closing next morning at 10 a.m. and says, I didn't have it done, well, that closing company's not going to close it till they get those instructions and everything wired. And I don't blame them. So just make sure that usually about 3 days before, you'll get a closing disclosure. I still call it a CD. And it will have listed on there what the buyer owes, what to bring to table, what the seller's getting, and any fees or any like closing costs the seller's paying to the buyer. So it's your job to look that thing over and make sure everything's on there. So for instance, I'll give you an example. If you have the seller and they're paying for the termite inspection and they said, can we pay it at closing? You make sure that's on there, because if it closes and that termite company a few days later says, hey, I sent an invoice, no one's paid me, it wasn't on that CD. So then you have to call your client and go, I forgot to make sure it was listed on the CD. Do you mind paying this out of your pocket when it could have just came out of the funds? Again, you look like the person that, and it's not a big deal, it can be corrected, but to them it might look like you dropped the ball a little bit, because then they get ready to move, they got moving, they want paint, they want to make their house nice, and then they have to deal with another bill. Let's see. Fund transfer went over, and then the closing company or the law firm, title company, will take care of the legal recording, which they will go to the courthouse and file all that. And I know probably not a lot of you guys have had any closing stories where something has come up and caused a big problem, but has anybody they want to share with or heard any stories that, they know what to look out for? Paul, do you have any?
No, I don't have anything
All right.
horror stories, but I guess I can come up with some.
Yeah, you come up with an example, or you could tell us a good story, Paul. I like positive stories, but All right, so that was the overview of the contract to close, and I know there's a lot more to it than just me going through a list. But I want to make sure I get you guys. I like to use the term meat and potatoes, by the way. I do like to eat, so I use meat and potatoes a lot. The important part of what's going on. So if you go to page 15 in your book, handout, whatever you want to call it, there is a process with descriptions that ensure you go through the steps the proper way. And I won't take time to read them to you. We can all do that on our own. But like offer acceptance, counteroffer, rejection, and just kind of look at, what that means and what a clear title. You probably like, oh, I've heard that, cloud on the title when you took your class and things like that. But that has to be done. And Paul, I'll tell you what, I'll be the Debbie Downer. So I had one time, and it made me think of the clear title. And we got to closing, and the house had been sold a couple times, but when I had it, somehow it was missed previously, and there was still a lien on the house from a bank a few years back, and that bank went out of business. And then I had to get my title company to research, find that bank, and go through all that. So the closing was a month late, a month. Luckily, the buyer and seller stuck in it and it worked, but it was a month to get all that title the correct way. So make sure you guys definitely make sure that's okay. All right. We're going to go to page 17. All right. Tip number 1, throughout the entire contract to close process, I can't see it for y'all's faces. Hold on a second. Follow up regularly with closing, title, escrow company, and the loan officer to make sure everything is progressing on schedule. So basically you have not just one thing, one part moving, you got all kinds of parts. And, your first couple, it's going to be, stressful. It's stressful even if you've got 2 or 3 going at the same time, and you have to remember, the Smiths still need this ordered, or I've got 5 days to get that repair list back to say what my buyer wants fixed. And then you've got this over here that's closing next week. And, so just make sure, and if you have to write your checklist, which we'll get to, I get ahead of myself, and know and put it in your, your calendar. Hey, schedule this day, schedule that, do it. We all have to be reminded. We're human, we forget things, but make sure that you know what you need to do. And, like the date it needs to be done, how many days or weeks out that inspection needs to be done. You know, inspection, usually you put in your contract to be done within 10 days. So if you have a buyer, you need to go ahead and find a home inspector and get that scheduled because it's in the contract how many days. Then when you get the inspection back, you have so many days, usually it's 5, 3 to 5, to sit down with your buyer and say, okay, I don't really care that that light bulb doesn't work, but the grounding out, you know, outlets in the kitchen, they're not grounded. We need to ask for that. You don't want that time period to go past. Let's see. All right. Tip number 2. Both agents should attend the closing. That would be of their clients. Be a resource to their clients and be sure items. So a lot of times I'll give you what I do, because right here it says keys, codes, you know, garage opener, stuff like that. I usually do my walkthrough a couple days beforehand. I don't like to do it too early, especially if the sellers are still moving out, because things could be damaged. Carrying couches out, and refrigerators, or whatever they're taking with them, workbenches, and damage a wall. So I usually do mine about a couple days ahead of time. But you want to make sure that the other agent lets their client know any extra keys leave in like a kitchen drawer or on the counter, you know, shed keys, garage opener, that it's there, things like that. Make sure all that's done. And then I usually take from the lockbox the day I do the walkthrough, that one key to take to closing. And when I started, did I forget it and have to go back over and get it before closing? You betcha, which is a wasted trip because I've already been over there. So, you know, I always do it or tell the other agent, hey, when you do the walkthrough, just take that key with you so you'll have it for closing. Because you don't always close at the same place the other person's closing. And yeah, the closing company will get those keys, even if it's extra keys, but I usually just take it and take it to closing to save my closing company the hassle. Let's see here. All right, so I brought up that checklist again. I get ahead of myself because I get excited letting you guys, you know all this. Closing checklist. As you go on, you could kind of make your own, or I'm sure there's one in Keller that you can go by. Or, you know, you sit down and you ask, you know, if you're just starting to ask a realtor, hey, what are the things that have to be done? And did I forget anything? And, you know, to help you make that checklist. And then you'll start just doing it. You know what needs to be done. So there's buyer agent contract to close checklist, listing agent contract to close checklist. And if you look on page 18, it tells the task and when to do it. And I'm not going to read all these and discuss because we'd be here forever. But, you know, I know that sometimes getting your buyer, reminding your buyer that, look, we only have a certain amount of time to get that EMD check in. So as soon as everybody has signed, I just go tell my buyer, you need to get that check out tomorrow. And this is you know, we don't send it to Keller anymore. That's a new rule. It has to be sent to the closing company. So they need to get with the closing company and mail it to them, or, you know, they can drop it off. You know, the whole thing is for us not to touch the check. So make sure EMD is the quickest way to get you and your company in trouble. So make sure that is sent in. It cannot be past those 5 days. You know, coordinate the move-in dates. If you are representing a seller, but they're also buying, you know, you got to get all these dates coordinated. So everything, you know, most people have to sell a house to buy a house. So they need that to go in a flow, you know. And then if you got the other side that's buying and selling at the same time, make sure you coordinate with that agent and stay on them to make sure they don't make your client's closing date, you know, late. So, and it's okay if they, you know, if you text them 2 or 3 times, email, call, and they don't answer, you know, sometimes you might have to bring your broker in. I don't like to tattle. I like to work it out as adults, but you need to finally call and say, you need to call me because this has to be answered. Page 19 will have the contract to close for the listing agent. Obviously, same thing, contractor earns money. Make sure the other side, has done their stuff. Coordinate all your inspections. So if you're on the selling side and you are the one who has to do termite, that's easy. You get your company to go out there and do it. And a lot of times you don't even need to be there. If there's a coated box or something like that, they'll take care of it. But they do need to get inside, especially if there's a basement. Negotiate all your repairs. So if you're the seller and the buyer asks for 1 through 5 to be fixed, you've got to get a contractor that will get there. And sometimes you run into where your contract's already booked up. Call another agent and say, hey, who do you use that I can get in and do it? That they can get all these little tasks done. Also, a lot of times make sure the contractor's Class A licensed contractor. And keep all the receipts, get them to write you an invoice. Keep all the receipts because the other party is going to ask for that you got it done. All right, page 20, you've heard me say be a problem solver. Some, call it being the project manager. I think problem solver, I kind of like that better. So be the problem solver if things come up. So there are issues that come up and you have to find the solution. We are the people that take the square peg and put it in a round hole sometimes because it comes up, beat it in and make it work legally, obviously. So on page 20, it says to deal with a partner. Again, we are Zoom right now in the country. So there's some things that can go wrong. If you guys could tell me like what solution you would do. I want you guys to give me feedback. That way I'm not the only one talking. So for inspections and repair, surprise findings. What could be a solution to kind of help any problems that would come up?
Michelle, are you on,
On page 20.
be a problem solver? Okay, inspections and repairs.
Yep. You have the book, right?
I do.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if you filled out a repair addendum and then I have an issue going on right now where we were promised a new well on a house. We're supposed to close on April the 6th, which is in 3 days, and no well has been dug.
Right.
And now they're saying the well, it's a shared well situation. So the well is going on the adjacent property and my buyer is getting stuck with the old well. But
Right.
that's not the way it's written in the contract. So in order to avoid just canceling the contract completely and not buying the house, I spoke to my buyer. He said he was okay with it. So then I just had to fill out another addendum, rewording exactly how the well was going to work and have everybody sign it again. And then insist that the seller has the old well inspected, a well flow test done, all at their expense.
Right. Right.
Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Yep. It's a surprise finding. And then you found the solution because that happens, things, they pop up, especially if you do listings for investors, they buy foreclosures, which there hasn't been too many in the last few months, but I know in the past when I had them, when you buy a foreclosure, that bank's not having the well, septic, nothing inspected. So when the investor buys it, until he has to get it inspected for a contract or a deal, he doesn't know. Heck, it could be dry, and then that's $8,000 out of his pocket to get one dug.
Right.
So yeah, definitely. Now that's a great example. Great example.
The only thing I failed on was I should have had them compensate him for the fact that he thought he was getting a brand new well and now he's not getting a brand new well. So technically in the contract, he's paying for a well in the price of the home.
Right.
So I should have negotiated some money back for him and I didn't, but I feel bad about that now after the fact, but
Is he okay with it? Was he
He's okay with it, but he's a really young buyer. It's his first home and he really wants his family to have this little house, and it's
Yeah.
already a very inexpensive house. So he was like, I can't ask them to take more money off of it and whatever. He just wants to get the house. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
feel like as an advocate on his behalf, I probably should have encouraged that harder.
right? Right. Have y'all signed the agreement and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was gonna say you could add it. Is the other realtor like kind of, would they say, okay, we'll kind of help out or anything?
No, the other realtor is being a complete jerk about it.
Yep.
I tried to explain to them that it's worded in the contract that he was getting a new well and everybody signed it. So
Right.
technically, legally, you owe this gentleman a new well.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
However, that's not what's going to happen. So like I said, it was not going to happen that way. So our only option was to walk away or to
Uh-huh.
compromise.
Right. And the other realtor probably knows that
Yeah.
he loves the house and
And
you know.
she's a much more prevalent realtor than I am. And so I'm sure she's not, I don't think she's paying very close attention to this deal because it's a very low priced home. It's
Yeah.
like 115,000. So I
Yeah.
really don't think it's on her priority list. And I just don't think she had her eye on the ball, and they all signed the contract the way it was worded. And now they're going back on it. I mean,
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But that well has been inspected, right?
I won't let them inspect it until they disconnect the other house from it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe. Hopefully the inspection will make him feel better. You know what I mean? Since you're doing the water flow and all that kind of stuff. Um, you know, so
Even the
it's
lender's
just,
mad about it. She's like, I feel like he's getting taken. And I'm like, I feel like he's getting taken too, but I can only work on his behalf. I can't do things without his permission. So
right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, yep. So that is definitely a surprise finding. Um, let's see. So inspections, repair. All right. Jennifer just brought up cost and who pays. So, you know, most of the time when you write a contract, you pre-negotiate the repair list, remediation limit. That's what I'm trying to say here. The remediation limit, and in average is usually 1,000 to 1,500. You know, unless it's a huge house, they might ask for, a little bit more. They also ask for a bigger EMD too. But even if you put the remediation $1,000, if you go in, like I said, that day, and there was something huge like the HVAC, it can be renegotiated because the sellers have to accept you're not going to sell it to the next person unless you fix it anyway.
right.
And sometimes I've had it where it's one I sold in Blue Ridge, and I had a really good opposite realtor. And we just ended up saying, let's just see if they'll split the cost. And both parties paid 2,500 and, got the new, because it had like a split unit, so only the top unit. So it was like $5,000 and it got taken care of. And everybody was happy.
The hard part is that the remediation money is in the purchase agreement and you haven't done the inspection until after that's signed. So sometimes you have to renegotiate that amount of money.
You do. You do. And I tell sellers, because sometimes something to come up, and usually it's under that 1,000. Usually you can get like a whole punch list done of small things, like an outlet. Sometimes they don't have an outlet outside, or there might be like something's not grounded in the kitchen. You just need to put the GFCI type in. Those aren't $15. Or the cost is electrician putting it in. Maybe something, and the bathroom fan doesn't work. So anyway, you got these 10 small things, and that's usually under 1,000. But you always get that one thing that sometimes it's a little over 1,000, like 12 or 15, and then you have to remind your seller, you're halfway here. The buyer's paid for an appraisal, paid for inspection. What's just a few more hundred to go ahead and get the whole deal done, which is hard for people to accept. $200 or $300 more because they're stuck on that $1,000 limit. But I tell them, okay, if you don't do this, it's going to come up in the next inspection. An inspector's going to see that the outlet's not grounded, or this doesn't work, or so usually you can kind of coach them and convince them just to go ahead and add that $300-400 extra and just pay a little over 1,000. So Let's see, appraisals, we talked about that, appraisals, another negotiation. Therefore, for this past year, there was a few that would make me nervous. Is it going to appraise? Now I'm scared, is the list price high enough because things are so inflated? But with appraisal, same thing. If it doesn't appraise, a bank's not going to give the buyer the loan anyway. But there's you can do do an amendment that says if it doesn't appraise, either A, you can renegotiate it, or you can put in there for seller to help you out with it, because a lot of times sellers are like, no, this is what they say it's worth, and the buyer's got to pay it, instead of coming down on the price, even if it's just a couple grand. Then you're back in that whole renegotiating, trying to get your clients to both see, hey, kind of meet the halfway point, or get the seller to believe the house isn't worth what they thought it was worth. Now if it's like 10,000, 20,000 off, you got a bigger problem. Usually they're only a couple grand difference, if it does. But again, you got to be a problem solver and figure out how to renegotiate it. And if your buyer really wants it, another 1,000 to 2,000 onto their loan over 30 years, you may pay $10 more a month. And you got to get them to go, okay, you're right. It's 30 years, 12 months a year. How much more could it be to add that for the house that appraised, different? All right, let's see. And then page 21, same thing, things that can go wrong, application delays, say the lender doesn't get the application yet, or, your buyer, because, your buyer is asked by the lender, give me this, this, this. And then step 2, I need your firstborn, a urine test, a drug test, it's obviously I'm exaggerating, but you need a lot more things. And if they drag their feet, then they're causing the loan officer not to be able to get everything in, which has to go through underwriting. So make sure you stay on your buyer about that, which goes with the documentation problems. Again, we went over earlier, what if they go out and purchase, start buying a bunch of furniture and take out a credit card for $5,000 at grand, or, hey, I'm getting a new house, I should probably get this new truck too. It's gonna kill the whole deal. If you're a seller, you might want to take a backup offer. People do nowadays are like, we take a backup offer, so I'll be second in line if it doesn't work. Take those, take and hold on to them. Another thing that could affect it is, and we've talked about other agents, bad advice or communication. Just like with the one Jennifer, just brought up. Poor vendor selection. So, like I said, if you have a contractor or a painter that said they'll get something done, or a roofer, and they're like, well, it's rained the last 3 days, so I got behind on my other job, so I put you off. Well, we can't be put off. We have a deadline. We're not just John Smith that's redoing our roof. So if you get vendors that do that, I probably wouldn't use them again. But, get vendors that definitely get, put their money where their mouth is. If they say they're going to get it done for you, and they should, because you're going to use them again. And you're a realtor, you're going to use them, you're going to give them as much business as possible. Deadlines, make sure you get all your deadlines. Let's see. All right, so common issues and solutions. Is there anybody that has a question on like a common issue or solution and how you would handle it, or anything you're going through right now? Feel free to, now's the time to ask. It's just us.
Not yet, but I will, I'm sure.
I'm waiting.
Once I get to this step.
Yeah, you will. You will, and you'll be happy, and we'll get through it. All right, so we will skip that. We will go to the next. All right. We're on actually still 22. All right, so closing information. Closing information, that will include, moving parts of your closing company. Obviously you want to make sure they are getting all the information they need to get, the closing packet, everything they need to do. A lot of times, and I don't know how many people's done dot loop, but dot loop serves a pretty significant part at Keller Williams, because that's how you can get your signatures if you want. That's what you have to put in to get paid. So the important part is, if you don't have all your contract, your lead-based paint, your residential property disclosure, the disclosures we put for having the shared space with Pike title, and anything else we share our space with, if you don't have that signed, they will hold, even if you get your commission check sent to the office, they will hold that. Megan will make sure that you have all your documentation in there, which saves in the long run. If anybody ever came back and said, hey, this didn't happen in a transaction, just look in dot loop and there it is. So I know why she does it, and I'm not hounding on her, but she will make you do it. But she'll usually send you a note, hey, you're missing this. I need this before I can, Crystal can do everything she needs to do to get you paid. And if you do it as you go, so I'm trying to speak as I do as I speak, maybe, because there's little things at the end, and I'm like, I forgot to put that on there. All right, I'll do it real quick because I saved it on my computer. But if you do it as you go, like, especially if you're getting electronic signatures, you're going to have it in there. But then if it goes to the buyer or seller, then you've got to remember to re-download it, because then it has both parties' signatures, and she's got to make sure that everything is, with code. Also, with your closing information, don't assume the buyer or seller remembers everything from your buyer consultation or listing presentation. Make sure they understand as you go through, hey, reminder, we just went under contract. Don't buy anything till past this date. Don't do this. Get everything into your lender. Same with listing. Whatever you went over in listing presentation, remind them, when you call them that Saturday morning and go, hey, I got somebody who wants to see your house at 4, and they're like, we're having a family barbecue. I really don't want you to show the house today. Remind them that you signed this. I'm trying to sell your house, and you're causing the holdup. Not rudely, but just remind them that you have to have access, and you're trying to sell for them. That's not your fault.
I think if you say it wearing a polo shirt, they'll take it better.
It will at the country club. Yeah, exactly. Yes. It's all in the, the outside, right?
Presentation.
It is about the presentation. It is. So just remember the systems we have: dot loop, command. You'll do command I still call it a green sheet, but it's not. But to get paid, you got to fill out all the little processes to get paid. So remember your important dates for buyer and seller. Copy of the contract and inspection report. So always explain, to them how the steps work. And it's just like anything new. I mean, once you start doing a few, it comes second nature for you. But if you were especially new buyer, or you've had the same house, you get couples had the same house for 40, 50 years, they're selling the house for the first time. Make sure, they're going to hear you, but then you might tell them something in 3 weeks and they go, so you did say we had to do that? Just make sure you remind them of everything. That's the key to communication. Let's see, 24. All right, so head over to page 24 and seize the golden opportunity. And how do you leave a good impression? So we want to discuss that. So as we went over, make sure your buyers and sellers understand. For us, we are the agent, and we're trying to get them from A to Z, start to closing. But we have to remember that it's in a very emotional and anxious time for them getting A to Z. It really is, especially if you have a seller that has kids and they're trying to keep the house neat, and people are coming in to make repairs and getting that scheduled. They're working, and now, we have this COVID thing, and, the whole world is different than it was. You got to remember it's very emotional for them. And it's also emotional because people selling the house, a lot of people become attached to their home, and it's an emotional process. You might have also like family members where their parents have passed on and they got to sell it and clean it out and get rid of memories. And just remember, to be empathetic. And you can usually tell it's not that people move slow sometimes and they don't want to do it. It's that it's very hard to do. So just try to put yourself in their shoes sometimes and be empathetic. I mean, I'm telling you, they at the end will thank you for just trying to, feel for them. So just remember it's emotional and anxious for the parties involved. That's why communication, keeping them up to date, that's very important. So at closing, and this was on maybe family reunion, I saw it, could have been. At the closing table, a couple things to take away. So just remember, closing seems like it's at the end. You're like, yes, that's the goal I was getting at. It's closing day. I'm excited. I got them a gift, and we're high-fiving, and I'm getting paid tomorrow because Crystal's going to do my stuff and put it in my account. But just remember to always think about that relationship for the future, whether it's the vendors you're using, the clients, communication. Just make sure everything is a good experience. And remember, so you've ever heard the saying, you only get one chance to make a first impression? Okay. Most time that's true. Unfortunately, humans, we sometimes judge a book by its cover, and we might have bad days and we still have to make a good impression. It could be 4 in the afternoon and I'm very tired and someone wants to see a house in the morning or say that evening, or I got 50 things on my mind and I'm like, gosh, how can I get this worked in? But just remember, you only have one chance to leave a lasting impression. So it's not always the first impression, it's lasting. That's one of the things that's written on page 24 in my book. So I want to discuss, you guys, come with ideas. It may seem this is elementary, but just so the more you talk about something, the more you remember it. The more I write it down, the more I remember it. How do you leave a good impression? What are some things that you could do to leave a good impression?
Are we supposed to be writing it down?
Nah, give it to me. Give it to me. You can write it and give it to me. I want to hear it.
Make eye contact and smile.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
Be honest.
Yes. I know you're big into that.
Yeah, I am.
You are. You're into that.
I am.
Be on time.
Being on time. Yep. I've heard if you get there, like if your appointment's at 10, if you get there at 10, you're late. That's what I've heard through some of the classes through Keller Williams. So try to be a few minutes early. And if someone's coming to see the house, you're meeting them there, if you can kind of already be there and have the key and everything, that's I know it's different sometimes for safety, but you're not just pulling up with them and rushing in with them and trying to turn all the lights on and things like that. So, yep.
Dress professionally in your best polo shirt.
Best polo shirt. I have a striped button down for you today. It's not polo. Yes.
Very professional.
Yes. I'm more into the summertime professional at the lake, so flip-flops and a nice shirt and pants. So yes.
Flip-flops.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, we're flip-flops making a deal.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, you
Are
wear
they those
some.
high heel wedge flip-flops? Then you can.
Well, I do have some of those. I do. They work out good, but sometimes it's just like a nice little V-neck with like some ankle pants and flip-flops. Lake's a whole different ball game. Yeah. Now the company I worked for before Keller, they were like no flip-flop showing houses. Like we're at the lake. So yeah. So now I can get by with it. All right, let's see. What else would be a
Well, like you said, communication, communication, communication.
mhm. Yep, it is. It is. And people, they like that because if, you know, like I said, it's very emotional for them. So if they don't hear from you for a week, you know, they might think, well, what's going on? And you don't want to get, I said it in one of my other classes I taught, you don't want to get that text saying, have you heard anything? You know, obviously I want to go, if I heard something, I'd call you, but you need to remember they're trying, you know, they don't know what you're knowing and waiting on. You know,
Right.
you got to, tell them. So,
I think a really important thing too for people like me and Vanessa who are new is if you don't know the answer to their question, let them see you write it down
mhm,
and then get the answer to them.
yeah,
Like there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know the answer to that question, but I will get it to you within 24 hours and let them see you write it down and then
Yep.
get it to them in 24 hours. And I think that's really, really important. Like
yep,
nobody should be texting you saying, hey, remember the other day we had a question about the doc? Did you ever find out anything about the doc? You know, you need to make sure that they know that they're your priority. So
yep,
just, it's okay if you don't know the answer to something, but get the answer.
yeah. If you don't know the answer, say, hey, I've never come across this. I got to see what to do. But I'll let you know as soon as, I got to make a couple calls. So yeah, most definitely. Let's see. And make sure you always thank them. Make sure you always acknowledge and thank them and always come from gratitude. You know, that's a big thing that this company teaches. Always come from gratitude. You know, I had a lady one time, and I'm totally not tooting my own horn. I just want to give you guys examples.
Sure.
Yeah, yes. I toot my own horn all the time, but that's in the office and at lunch and play. But I had an older lady one time, and she had an autistic son, and her husband had died a couple years prior, and she was selling her house, and it was in Vinton, but Bedford County. And as we got closer to closing, she was having an emotional struggle with getting rid of her house. And, it was her and her autistic son and trying to move, and she had no family members that really wanted to help her out. I took my old pickup truck in the rain and helped load things on their truck and my truck and took them to her new place in Hardy. And I was drenched, and it was the day where I'm like, oh my God, it's raining. I got to do this in the rain, but I told her I would do it. But at the end of the day, it was the best feeling ever because I knew she had no help. And in her heart, she thought that was, I don't know a lot of realtors that would do that. They may. I mean, that's just being nice as a human.
I don't think so.
And then obviously I didn't want to tell her I feel sorry for you because I didn't feel sorry. I just felt like it's something I should do.
You felt touched. I mean, you know, when people take advantage of something or when you really know that they need help and
Yep.
something that you can give.
Yeah.
Being a good person, not a good realtor. That's good peopling.
Yeah, it is.
You're a good people, Michelle.
I try not to let anybody know. It's like the secret. But yeah, no, I do.
People.
She's a softie deep down.
I am deep. It's hidden. It's hidden.
Yeah.
So, but no, I just, the thing with her story just.
Oh, well, it gave me chills, just so you know.
Good. I
I
like that. I like good stories. Like I said, we have so much negativity. But I remember that like it just happened yesterday and it was years ago. And like I said, it was the day where I'm like, oh, it's raining all day, but I know she has the closing date. This is the only day we can do it. And it just, I did it. I was soaked. And like I said, if that was my situation and I was raising this son and working hard, selling my house and buying another one, and I had nobody that would have meant the world to me for someone to do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's your warm and fuzzy for today. So you're warm and fuzzy.
It's a good one.
So let's see what else on that. All right. Agents have two agendas. One, to move the current transaction toward a successful closing. That's a definite. And two, which we don't always think of because we've worked so hard to get to closing. We're just so excited about closing day and our people being happy and, you know, then going to do whatever we have to do the rest of the day. Two is to ensure referrals. And most agents don't get that. And you don't till you have milked the cow from your business and you have no more business. And then you're behind because you're trying to get these referrals and scrounge for, you know, buyers and sellers. So you always have to be thinking that. Let's make sure it's not the other page. Let's see. Okay. So to go off of that, follow up with everyone. Like I said, especially when you're busy and you have like, you know, 2 or 3 closings a month, and you go the next, you go the next, you go the next. Then you have real life and a little downtime here and a lot of lake time here. You know, you forget to do your follow-ups and remember those people. So what I want to tell you is follow up with everyone. I will tell you, I wish Joan was on here because I think I just told her that the other day. She is great for just sending some client a text, just checking on you, you know, or send them something on Facebook, and she remembers them and they remember her. And that's how you know, I don't want to say build your followers, but kind of build your followers because they're going to remember, you know, they're not thinking Michelle forgot about me and here's this agent over here. I'm going to tell my friend to go there. But a lot of times, and I put it in one of my videos one time, you're not just building, you know, a business, you're building relationships because that's what's going to get you your business. You know, people pick you, they will pick you. We get these leads and it's your job to, you know, hit it off with them. But some people will just call you because you seem like the person has something in common with them. They will pick you. So follow up with everyone. Some agents believe the best time to ask for referrals after you've begun to deliver on your customer experience. But before things have a chance to go AWire, sometimes go ahead and ask for, like, you know, do you have anybody else that want to sell? Ask for that Zillow review. You know, you don't have to always wait till the end at the closing. Or 2 months later, you know, you might send them an email and say, hey, do you mind going to my business page and give me a referral? Well, by that time, you know, they will, but they might not think it's as needed now. The yesterday syndrome, that's what I call it. A good thing to do is touch campaigns. Touch campaigns is a single best proven tool for enlarging your real estate universe. Closing should be a signal to you. You know, even after closing, you can still put that kind of touch program. We have the 33 touch. You know, send them a thank you email. At closing, give them a gift. 2 weeks later, send them a card. Hey, just wanted to say thank you. Hope the house is going great. If you have any problems or, you know, you need a painter because you knew that they were thinking about getting their house painted, follow up with them. You know, that will show them like, man, she still thinks about me. You know, I mean, it's like dating. They're still thinking about me, you know? So we've all been in the dating game, right? So, all right. And the reason I bring all those up is this statistic here. And you guys have heard it before. The NAR reports that 88% of clients say they would use their real estate agent again, but only 12% do. And we went over some reasons why. So don't be that 76% that loses touch with their past clients. So if you want me to eat my words, the lady that I told you the story about, for about a year we stayed in touch, and I became a horrible person and haven't checked on her since. So, so don't be that, you know, it's easy to do, you know.
But
for
a
about
year is good though.
It was, you know, and she lived right off, you know, Hardy Road before you get to Benton. That's where she moved to. And, you know, so, but I should definitely You know, like when you're looking for people to call and ask for referrals, that should be one of my first calls. Hey, how are you and your son? Have you retired yet? By the way, you know, or leave the Bayou Way out, touch that, you know, do that first touch and then later ask for a lead. Or I should send her a letter. I got her address. Hey, thinking of you, and then insert my business card.
Yeah.
So it's all kinds of ways to generate business.
Mhm.
You just have to, I have a problem with it. Sit your butt down and actually do it. All right. Let's see here. All right. So I will tell you on page 26, I've never done this. I think this is a good idea if you want to do it, but most people get their surveys off of like Zillow, Facebook, realtor.com, asking your clients to go, even your website. But they do have a written survey on page 26 if you send your customer, client, vendors, and it kind of lets them rate you. No one's going to see it, probably you. So that's why I think a lot of people do more of the online thing. So, you know, you get that 5-star, you know, Jennifer Roach did a great job. There were some issues that, you know, met us halfway on some inspections, and she knew exactly what to do. So, you know, so the rest of the world can see it. 28. All right. So 27, page 27, customer service focus. And that's kind of what we've been building up to. And we should have been doing from A to Z on all those other classes I mentioned that we've done so far. That you guys have been awesome to try to make every class, because I know this is a commitment. Realtors, we have a big problem with commitment. I know that. But you guys have been here, and I'm very, very glad you guys are. So follow the process, use the tools that's been learned in your sessions. This will wow your customers and impress them with what uniquely great customer service you offer. So a benefit for you is that past clients who advocate for their friends, you know, because everybody says, hey, you know, you're at a barbecue and someone talks about a realtor, talks about a mechanic, talks about, hey, we thought about buying a new boat. Really, I got mine here. So what do you think? What do you think you want them to mention if they talk to anybody real estate? Hey, I thought about getting a small condo at Mariners because we want an Airbnb, but we also want something for us. Oh, awesome. Vanessa Robinson. She really knew her stuff, you know? So that's what you want to eventually get in their head. So always ask for feedback, you know, on your service to all parties. So that doesn't just include your client. Again, it could be a company you worked with, any of your vendors. It could also be your lenders, you know, because I'll tell you, if you get a good lender and you guys work well together, even though you're feeding him or her all these clients to pre-qual, what do you think they're going to do when they have somebody call out of the blue and say, hey, we'd like to get pre-qual, think about getting a house in the next 6 months because we're getting married? Really? Well, I have these 3 tops. I'd give you these names and you pick one of them. Michelle Vander, Vanessa Robinson, you know, Paul. It's just, you're going to have it. So you want to build relationships with them. Again, another thing to ensure your referrals is, and this is something we talk about every class, the notes. Send them a handwritten thank you note. Vanessa, you and I write like slobs, right? We've established we have horrible penmanship. Horrible penmanship. I could read it, right? But handwritten notes, man, because it comes from the heart. It's not typed out. It's not something I ordered on the internet. People are going to realize you took the time to sit down, and it really takes only a few minutes, but that you sat down and thought of them.
I can
So-
write neat when I want to, but I just choose not to.
Me too. I just, yes.
Doctor script.
Yep, the doctor script, exactly. Let's see. So give me a couple of gifts that you guys give or are thinking of giving, or something that you know, because if you're new, you want to, I didn't always know what to give as a closing gift. Now, if you know the person, it's a friend of yours, you're probably going to know what kind of wine they drink, you know, what they're into, you know, not that I'm ever into this, but some people are into Harry Potter and would like that in their kitchen, or, welcome to the lake. So what are some, ideas that you guys have?
I know a woman who she engraves things, and Sandy uses her too, Sandy Eccleston, and she has these cutting boards that she can engrave anything on. So I just got one for a closing gift for my next closing, and it has their initial and their name on it, and it says like established April
Yep.
2021 on it. And then I'm just gonna stick that in a bag with a bottle of champagne and a homemade cheese ball.
Yep. Homemade
that's
cheese
so
ball.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Should you be bringing those to the office?
Maybe
There's a
maybe one day.
Mhm.
Maybe one day if you're lucky.
I know you should. You should bring that. I love cheese balls.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a great one. Like I said, it's
Also, I
personal.
just thought of like a gift certificate to the Cottage Gate is a really good one too.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially people moving here, you know, um, people with kids.
Cottage Gate.
Yeah, you would love it, Vanessa.
Huh?
You would love it there.
Huh.
Yeah. It's in Westlake where Kroger is,
Okay.
closer to the movie cinema.
Okay.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
cute little store and they sell all kinds of things for your home. I don't like to presume to decorate someone's home for them.
Yes.
Because I don't like when people buy me, my stepmother does this all the time. She buys me things for my home that I don't love and then I
Yeah.
have to put out because she comes by and wants to know where it is. So, but a gift certificate is a really good idea.
It is. A gift certificate is great. If they even if a Lowe's gift card, if you have somebody they're going to be painting or they want to mulch, a Lowe's gift card is, it's not as personal, but you could put maybe a smaller amount with that cutting board because the cutting boards aren't more than $35. So yeah, definitely. Another thing that's kind of cool is I had a family one time and it was a guy and a girl that they got married and they both already had kids. So they had like 6 kids in the house now. So I went and got one of those square bins and I put movie popcorn in it and sodas and I don't eat a lot of candy, but the movie candy,
Yeah.
and gave that to them, kind of here's movie night on me at home, because you got you got the Brady Bunch. So to take that many kids to the movies, I know is expensive.
Yeah.
So that was kind of different idea.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, in some clients, you might know them personally, so you can get a little more personal with them. Out of town clients, maybe not so much, but a lot of times if you talk to your clients enough, you're gonna see what they like. Another thing you can do is Facebook stalk them, and if you see that they love whatever, whatever they're into, they might be into music or guitar,
Yeah.
or, whatever. So not to advocate for stalking, but you kind of use it for that, and they're like, man, she knows me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I know what you do on your off time. Yeah, exactly.
Deep dive.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
Don't
and
send them their favorite brand of underwear though.
no,
They'll think you're
no,
stalking them too much.
well, I mean,
I see you like those satin boxers.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it might cause a divorce, or yeah, unless you got to do it to make the sale, Jennifer. No, honestly, but yeah, that's gives them at closing. It really does mean a lot, believe it or not. And I try to go to every closing. I think when COVID first hit, you couldn't go. You could go sit in the parking lot or whatever, but that was really about it. So I would just run the gift to them, in the parking lot, because that shows them you're taking your time out of the day to make sure everything went correct. So, and third thing is under customer service, keep in touch. Stay on top of mind. Chances are in the future, they're going to know someone that wants to buy or sell real estate. Plus some clients are really cool. I've had clients that move to the lake and they'll call me when they come down for the summer, like, hey, you want to come over on the back deck and, we're going to have some wine and cook out, yeah, I'll be your family for the day. I mean, some of them are just really cool to get to know, you know? So anyway. All right. Does anybody need a break or anything? Need to go bathroom or need a minute? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Need to refresh your spritzers or anything?
How much longer are we going?
We got about 3 more pages of talk and then just like the recall and remember.
Okay.
Do y'all need to power through or go? All right, power through. All right. All right, page 28. We talked about thank you gifts, which is on your turn, tokens of appreciation. So we went over the gift ideas. A couple they had in the in my notes was a good one, especially if someone's moving to the lake or say someone gets transferred and they're moving to Roanoke. Is like a little book of history on the town. Those are kind of cool.
Oh, that's cute.
I love sharing with clients that come to the lake how the lake was made. You know, I just think it's awesome
Yeah.
how they dammed it up and this happened and what year it was and you know how a long time ago nothing existed. Like they had stores that were just like on floating docks that sold, you know, the minimum, and then how big it it got. I love to share that. So like a history book with the town or region to that area. Let's see. Another good thing for them is to give them like maybe return of address labels, you know, that they could have now with their new address. Just little things. You know, sometimes just making like a little basket of that canister and put, you know, local restaurant menus in there and maybe some of those labels. And Cottage Gate has napkins and coasters that say something about Lake. So that's something cool to put in there.
I'll have to go there.
Yeah, you'll like it.
Next time I come down.
We will hit the Cottage Gate. How about that?
All right.
All right. The fourth thing, okay, and we talked a little bit about this because I love these words: get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid. So when you have the commission, you know, a lot of places do theirs a little different than us. Most are trying to get, like, there's a few little ones that still don't do direct deposit. You have to actually go pick your check up or have it mailed to your office, and you go to your office and pick it up, then go to your bank. But everything you do with that, and I touched base on it already, is dot, loop, and command. And if you get to that point where you need help with that, Crystal will walk you through it. I can do it. Pretty sure Shalaya, I think I call Shalaya at least once a week with a problem. Hey, how'd you say you do that? She laughs at me and she helps me though. I mean, she helps the kid that can't remember anything. So they, I think used to do it through eEdge, but just remember dot loop, have all your paperwork in because it has to be with compliance, and then go to command to get your, I still call it green sheet, but get your sheet done to get paid. And it's pretty easy. You have
It's
to
not
put
easy.
it,
Don't lie to everybody. That's a complicated form.
well, I guess because I've done 3 or 4, but I do the same thing. I have to think about it. My whole problem is I sometimes forget I haven't put my contact in there. So then I have to enter my whole contact and then do each step. You know, the offer, you accept it and all that. So, but yeah. No,
Yeah, because we're not really good at putting stuff in command. And then when you go to do your opportunity, it's like there's
Yeah.
nothing in there.
Yeah, you type in Charles Smith and you're like, there's no Charles Smith. Yeah, because I never entered him. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, there's the get paid. 28. All right. Let's see. Page 30 is basically we've been over. Are you prepared for contract to close? So you guys have had Ignite. You're more than prepared now, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
There's not much to go over that. It's no sense in, we pretty much went over that anyway. I talked about getting a calendar system. You know, a lot of people use their phone for their calendar. I mean, that's what I do now daily, and I have alarms that goes off, tells what I have next. But, you know, put in there, need to order inspection by this time. need to follow up on this, need to, call Jennifer because she don't know how to get paid. So she's going to put it in my account, things like that, all right. 31, putting it all together. Okay. Putting it all together. Action plan, prepare for your final Ignite class, recall and remember. I want some ahas, and enhance your learning. All right. So remember, always bring your laptop and phone, especially in my class, because I make you do stuff. All right. Page 32 is preparing for your final Ignite class, which Shalai usually sends out the stuff for that. All right. 33. I always like to go over this. Recall and remember, because we went over a lot of stuff. We'll go back through it. So what is the 4-step process outlined in this chapter to have a successful closing? There's the 4 things. And I can probably tell you what page it's on. Let's see, 4 things.
Page 13, right?
Let me get to it. 10, 11, 12, 13.
Know the process.
It is page 13. Make it happen. It's under the make it happen. Know the process, work from a plan, have systems in place, seize the golden opportunity, which is what? What's that golden opportunity? We got to think of our future. Get those referrals.
Oh yeah.
So, at
You don't-
closing, before closing, after, and then 4 is get paid. All right, in the contract to close process, what step is after the offer acceptance and why is it important? Now, we didn't go step by step because there's a lot of them. I'll just give you guys this one.
The inspection.
Close. So you got to have a what title?
Oh, clear title.
Clear title. There you go. Clear title. Report of title that reflect whether any liens, other issues may or may not be discovered to prevent the buyer from taking a clear title from seller's property. And if anybody, you can't find this or I'm speaking too fast, let me know. Let's see. Why is closing a good time to ask for referrals and testimonials?
Everybody's in a good mood.
They are. We're all happy. We're all got our champagne bottle and we're happy. Yep. It says those exact words. This is when the parties are at their happiest. Everyone has reached the outcome they desired. All right. Who are the resources in your market center?
Shalaya.
I know. I should just write Shalaya across it.
Really,
Yes.
she's the answer to every question.
She is. She is. She's like that 8-ball Shalaya. And then you ask the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she's our own little Siri.
Yeah, Shalaya, we're gonna get you an 8-ball that says Smith Mountain Lake on it. Okay. So productivity coach, ALC members, team leader, assistant team leader, or a mentor in the office, instructor, and Shalaya. She does it all. She really does. So
Just remember, Magic 8 Balls can say no too.
not this one. We're gonna tip that end that's heavier that says yes.
It's weighed down.
Yes, it only says yes.
Never say no. That's the problem.
It is. In the scales of justice, you're always yes. Yes. So, but we love you. All right. It says how many contacts in your KWE Edge database by the end of Ignite? So how many METs? How many contacts do you have today? And the answer is should be near 200 or more because we're pretty close to the end. All right. So do you guys have any ahas or anything that, really like today?
I love the checklists.
You do?
Yeah, because I've been trying to make a checklist for myself to use
Yep.
in the future. Because I'll just wake up in the middle of the night and start thinking about a client, and I'm like, where am I in the process? What did I forget something? Like in the middle of eating dinner,
Yeah.
and then I have to run downstairs to the office and look and try to like I need to have some sort of checklist.
And
And I've been asking for one, and I I haven't been able to find any, so.
As a newer person, and just like you, Jennifer, I keep asking, where's my, and I think I did it to Shalaya too. I'm like, where's the checklist of everything I need to learn? Because there's so much, you feel so overwhelmed. I
It
need
is
that.
overwhelming. It is. And then people look at you like you're an expert and they expect you to know everything and you're faking it because you don't really know.
Yeah.
It would be, I need a checklist for
I
everything.
went
Yep.
through Dot Loop yesterday when I got back from lunch, and I was looking for a checklist of, oh, the buyer's side. Let me just see. So I have that. And the funny thing is, it's from 2016. And guess what it says? The green sheet.
Sorry.
I'm like, oh, that's a little outdated. So I don't even, in Dot Loop, that checklist isn't even helpful.
Yeah.
But you found one in Dotloop? Because I've been looking in Command and couldn't find any.
So I found one in Dot Loop, but it's not going to help because it's outdated.
Yeah.
Mhm. So
You could take that one and then make your own.
yeah, I think I'll probably print it. Maybe Jennifer, maybe we can get together and figure out, because you've done some of the processes and
Yeah,
need,
I'm just trying to put some together and I'll send them to you.
okay. Yeah, we'll get there. We're going to figure this out for everybody.
You guys are.
And me. And me.
Yeah, no, you are. And if you guys get to rocking it, then I've got.
And I figure if I can't find a checklist, I'm just going to keep asking people. It's like, okay, what do I need to do now?
Right.
But it's going to be the experience more than anything, I'm sure.
It is. And then you'll start saying, okay, this is what I need on my checklist. You know?
Mhm.
So perfect. Says list of tools you'll use to achieve real behavior. Well, you guys talked about one tool you want as a checklist. You know, we can talk about this every class, time blocking. So then you got to block time to make the time, the list. Because I've done it, I'm like, man, I really need to do this, and then never make time for it because I've reprioritized my priorities. Sometimes we all, you have a list you're going to do that day, and 6 other things happen. So accountability, I love that word. I do. I love that word. Evaluate what kind of accountability will sustain your behavior change. So, like I said earlier, we have those days, we have those weeks where we're so busy or we just don't feel like doing it. Now it's going to be summer and then you're like, oh, I want to play outside because it's spring. But you have to make sure that even if you need an accountability partner, that it's kind of like having a gym partner with this thing. That's how I think of it. I relate a lot of things to sports. If you want to have someone, you say every Wednesday and Friday, call me, see if I did my calls, or every Monday morning, because Mondays usually seem the hardest for people. Say, hey, you want to agree that on Mondays we call each other at 9 o'clock and say, make your calls, make your calls, make your calls. Or I'll call you at 3 and say, did you make your calls? So get a partner if you want. Whatever's the best accountability system for you is what you need to do. I don't know, maybe you need to plaster it on your refrigerator, because as most people, you go to your refrigerator 1,000,000 times a day, So achievement. So think about what you want to achieve, and think about why. And then when you're having those days like we all have, like this weekend's Easter, it's busy for a lot of people with family dinners and hiding Easter eggs and doing whatever. And so you just blow off the rest of the world. So like I said, what you want to achieve, think why, because I read a thing the other day. It said everybody wants to be successful until they figure out how hard it is. Everybody wants to be successful till you figure out how hard it is. So just remember that it is hard some days, and you have to be that person that does the opposite of the lazy person, or the person that's just like, just having a bad day today and not doing it. Do it. Make yourself do it. Think about what you're doing to get it there. That's what we're just talking about. And I think that is it, unless somebody has any ahas or any positive they would like to say before I let you guys do whatever you got to do.
Michelle, you're a really good teacher.
Yes, thank you, Michelle, for
Thank you.
taking
Thank
your
you.
time out today.
Do what?
Taking your time out today.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
You know,
closing lunch.
I actually enjoy teaching. I actually wish we were in a classroom so I could,
Yeah.
you know, add a little more to things. But no, thank you guys. Like I said, I care. I really, you know, I care to help you guys. I know what it's like. We used to have this saying at the police department, never forget where you come from, because some leaders and supervisors forget and then they think they're here and they don't help this. So I always try to remember, don't forget where you came from. I had to learn. And I'm still learning. You know, I wish I was setting the world on fire. I wish I was, you know, but I'm doing good. I'm not saying I'm not doing bad. I do very well. But you know, but thank you, Jennifer. Like I said, I enjoy it. And I like to make you guys interact, whether you like it or not. I do. So just sitting up here reading to you guys that would be boring. So
Talking to
Good.
yourself.
yes, yes, yes. Well, if no one has anything, let me just make sure. Paul, do you have anything? I know us girls, we just kind of monopolize the chitty chatty.
No, I just like to listen. I don't learn much from talking, so I just like to listen.
Well, good. Well, I hope that it makes
No, but
sense to
you
you.
do a great class, so.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks. Like I said, I enjoy it. I don't really get nervous. I just, you know, I have a good time, and thank you. All right. Well, you guys have an awesome Easter. If you guys want to drop some Easter eggs off in my front lawn that has money in it, I'll be sure to find them. I'll work really hard. But anyway, enjoy your Easter, enjoy families, and be safe.
Bye.
Thank
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank y'all for coming.
Bye.